Hello, beautiful mademoiselles. Today we're talking about something super powerful, and I think sometimes it is underrated, and that is the way that you speak. Speech etiquette. Your words shape how people see you and how you feel about yourself, and even how you connect with the world around you. So, today we're going to dive into speech etiquette, why it matters to begin with, and I will share with you, ladies, five actionable and digestible tips that you can start today to level up your communication game. So, firstly, let's talk about why speech etiquette is such a big deal. Your words, ladies, are a window into who you are. When you speak clearly, thoughtfully, and respectfully, people will perceive you more confident, intelligent, and trustworthy. And there's so many studies that talk about this, that show that communication skills really influence everything from job opportunities, dating, personal relationships, friendships, because up to 70% of how people perceive you, how they judge you, it comes from how you express yourself. Good speech etiquette also will broaden your horizons. When you choose words that uplift or inspire, you will open doors for deeper conversations, new ideas, and also stronger connections with the people around you. You don't realize this, but yes, your words are this powerful. But on the flip side, if you're constantly having careless speech, like you constantly use slangs, you curse, or heavy lingo, TikTok lingo, this will limit how others see you. And it will make it harder for you to be taken seriously in professional settings or even in just meaningful settings, like, you meeting the parents of your boyfriend, that kind of setting. So, yes, words are so powerful. They will change the perception of how others have of you, and it will even change your experience of the world. So let's get real about cursing for a second. Does an elegant woman curse? I personally avoid it, and here's why. Cursing can really put you in a reactive, negative, and emotional mental space in just a second. When you say the word, it automatically usually will put you in that space almost immediately. And there's actually been research in psychology as well that suggests that frequent swearing is usually linked to higher stress and lower emotional regulation. So, yes, swearing can offer that temporary stress relief, like when you stub your toe, for example. But when you constantly lean on curse words every second sentence, you might feel like you're expressing yourself, but over time, it can make it harder and harder to really articulate complex thoughts or just stay calm in tough situations. Choosing intentional words instead, psychology says it will make your mind more sharp and more grounded. So try that out. Let me know how it is for you. I personally used to curse a lot in the past, and I just stopped because for me it was more of a like my faith. Like I didn't feel godly when I was doing it, but also I've noticed like yes, like cursing actually puts me in that negative mental space like immediately. Like, I feel almost like dirty now when I say a bad word, and it's so funny that I am becoming like that woman that I would be like, it's just a curse word. It's just a curse word. But you don't realize words are powerful. Words are really, really powerful. So now let's get into the good stuff. How to improve your speech in a super practical way. I have five easy tips that you can start with today. So number one, of course, I'm going to talk about this, is to read classics, novels, or anything with continuous conversation, like Pride and Prejudice, for example. I remember talking about this with you ladies, how when we first started reading Pride and Prejudice together, we were almost confused. Like it took us a while to actually be involved and be interested in the book because we just had a hard time understanding the language. Like Jane Austen speaks in a whole other language. But over time, as you get used to this kind of language, you will obviously become more interested, but it will literally expand your mind. Like I'm so glad that I pushed through that book, even though it was so hard the first 100 pages. But because afterwards, like even in real life, when I was reading that book, like I wanted to speak more eloquently. I wanted to use richer words. So really just don't shy away from books that seem difficult for you or that seem boring at first. Trust me, you will find and you will bear the good fruits in the end. Classic books really expose you to eloquent, varied language that really expands your vocabulary, and it teaches you how to structure your thoughts. So this actually reminds me of the book 1984 by George Orwell, where this dystopian regime deliberately limits vocabulary through this new language called newspeak. And the goal is to restrict the range of thought by eliminating words that people could speak so that they couldn't have the words to rebel. They didn't have the words to articulate complex ideas or to articulate words that would oppose the regime. This book is a perfect example how when you limit vocabulary, you also limit freedom, independent thought, and even personal identity. So in a world where language is often simplified to just quick text, slangs, TikTok lingo, rich dialogue will actually make your inner world more expansive and it will free your mind. Do not underestimate words. In short, don't neglect that classic book, that classic novel that you've been holding off for a while. Expand your mind to new words, new vocabulary. It will do your life a tremendous favor. My second tip would be mindful of what you consume. If you're always on TikTok or social media, you might pick up slang or that kind of lingo that usually comes from a 12-year-old. And that's fun with friends, but overusing it can make you sound less intelligent in serious settings. So if you want to apply for jobs, if you want to be taken seriously in relationships, this matters. Language shapes perception, and constant exposure to that casual content will shrink your ability to express nuanced and complex ideas. So instead, try to balance it with quality content. I personally love old Hollywood movies. I love watching Audrey Hepburn on the screen. She's just so eloquent and she inspires me to be more eloquent as well. Or you can try documentaries, just movies even that just people are speaking with real thoughtful language. That leads me to my third point, which is to listen to great speakers. There's so many podcasts and interviews that are gold mines for learning how to articulate speech. And that is personally how I learned English. English is my third language, and without these interviews, these videos, especially YouTube, was so helpful for me to learn English. But yeah, try looking at, again, high quality content. I personally used to love looking at archives, people speaking from the 50s, 60s, 70s, or I loved even watching the 90s supermodels, like their interviews. They were so eloquent, you ladies. Like these women were intelligent. So just watch content that you enjoy, but try to watch it, of higher quality, if that makes sense. Your brain will naturally take mental notes of, what stands out, and it will become almost second nature. Fourth, this is so important, and I wish someone had told me this earlier because I had such public speaking anxiety. I struggled to speak in front of a class. I struggled for presentations. It would be the worst thing, worst nightmare. I would try to meditate, pray, do everything to relax before a speech just because I was so nervous. But I realized like what I was doing, one of the things that really inhibited my ability to deliver a speech, it was because I was rushing through my words. And first of all, that's not good for your nervous system because you're signaling to your brain like, okay, let's rush, and it makes you more nervous than how you actually are as well. So I've learned to just speak slowly, just pause a little bit. It gives you time, to think, to choose your words wisely. It also makes you appear more confident and in control. When you're rushing through conversations, you show that you want to spend as little time as possible in front of the stage, in front of the class, in front of whatever the meeting that you have. So really just take up space, slow down. It is okay to take up space. I want you ladies to be so intentional about this. Try it. Before answering a question, take a deep breath, count to 2 in your head, and just practice this in casual conversations. And it will become second nature when you want to go for a job interview. You will feel less nervous. Okay, count to 2. 1, 2, and choose your words wisely. Speak slowly. The most powerful speakers, if you see on YouTube, they always, always, always take their time. They're not rushing. No, none of them are rushing through their speech. So take your time. My fifth tip is actually to practice active listening. Great speech, ladies, always starts with great listening. And a lot of us don't think about this link. When you truly hear what others say, you will automatically respond more thoughtfully. Listen to what people have to say, not just to say what you need to say. I love when people just pause when you say something, they think, and then they add to it. You don't always have to necessarily add to every single conversation. just add where it really matters, where you feel like you can add a point, you can add value to it, but don't speak for the sake of noise. It's fine to be silent, actually, sometimes. That is part of speech etiquette as well, to have self control, to have restraint. So, if you want to be a better speaker, try this in your next conversation. Really focus on understanding the other person's point of view before planning your reply. This will actually also build empathy, and it will make your words much more impactful, much more meaningful. You will have deeper and deeper conversations when you actually try to listen to the person that you're speaking. Ladies, if no one has told you, your voice is your superpower. If you're practicing these tips, you're not just improving your speech, you're literally shaping how the world sees you, and it opens up your world to endless possibilities as well. So start small, be consistent, and soon enough you will see your confidence in your speech just soar. If you ladies have any other tips on speech etiquette, let us know in the Mademoiselle Society forum. It'll be extremely helpful. Mwah. Bye, ladies.